Needs to be tighter. This is just falling off. Whilst many of the ways to use the DJI Neo 2 are intuitive and simple, there are some things that have puzzled people, or people just don't know about because they've spent too long faffing about in a field with it rather than reading the manual. In this video, I'm going to cover 10 things that you may have missed about the DJI Neo 2. And to keep you watching until the end, there may be a bonus tip, and it's really cool. And it's also because 11 looks like a weird number to put on a thumbnail. I've done a lot of fun stuff with drones, from the little DJI Neo up to the awesome Air 3S. I still can't afford a Mavic 4 Pro. But each of them has a place and a use case, except for perhaps, you know the one.
What a piece of fecal matter.
In the drone world, I believe you very much get what you pay for, and I'm so glad that DJI decided to bring out the Neo 2, which improved on the original. They kept the price point relatively low and turned the fun up to 11 with the awesome gesture control and obstacle avoidance. So let's have a look at some of the random little things that I've discovered that you may not be aware of. Selfie mode. If you're out with your friends and family and you want to get a shot of yourselves, rather than having to have someone missing from the shot, you can get the DJI Neo 2 to take the shot for you. You can choose between a variety of shots and number of photos that are taken, and can get a photo from an angle that you wouldn't normally be able to get from a camera phone unless you had a very, very long selfie stick. With the phone app, or just with the drone itself, select the amount of shots you want to take, what angle and aspect you want to take them at, and then let it fly off, construct a beautiful and handsome pose, and let the drone snap the photos. If you're using the phone, you can even get it to take multiple pictures at multiple heights and distances, all in one session.
And I'm spent.
With the RCN3 or RC2 controller, if you select a vehicle as your point of interest, the Neo 2 can recognise that as a car and track it. And as with any of the tracking modes, you can set the minimum and maximum distance and minimum and maximum altitude that the drone tracks you at. One thing to bear in mind is that if it's particularly windy, the Neo 2 will struggle to keep up with you, even at relatively low speeds. But if you keep the altitude low and it's not too windy, then it does a really good job, as you can see here. Oh, and a big tip here is to set your return to home point as dynamic. Two reasons for this. If you've got the drone set to return to home when it loses signal, you'll end up chasing it all the way back up the road. And if you have your return point set as the start point, once you've got quite a distance, you'll start getting a low battery warning really quickly, because the Neo 2 thinks it's got to fly all the way back up to the start point. If tracking the vehicle you're in, don't do it on a motorway. Find a very quiet lane and keep your speed low. Ideally try to make sure you have someone with you, either to monitor the controller or drive the car. And if you don't have anyone with you, then it's probably best not to do this, or at least go on the private road like I did. In the UK, using follow mode, you don't need to keep the drone in view as long as it's within 50 metres of you. Amok Time Flies takes no responsibility for any accidents or damage that may occur while tracking your vehicle. Your house is at risk if you set fire to it. We know we can get a bit more flight time out of the Neo 2 by removing the prop guards, but I like to leave them on. Not because I'm concerned about my dainty little fingers getting caught in the props, but because they have this protrusion at the front that goes in some way to protecting the gimbal and the front sensors in the event of a crash. But if you do want to take the prop guards off, turn the drone over and start by unhooking the inside middle bit, then work your way around the back and front, unclipping it as you go. If you're struggling, you can release some tension by giving it a squeeze, and then it should pop off quite quickly. Stop it. To put them back on, click in the middle, attaching parts first, then go round the edges, making sure that all of the other locations are secure. Again, if you're having trouble getting the parts to go in, just give it a little squeeze. It's specifically designed to have a bit of elasticity to it. Talking of extra flight time, these are DJI's intelligent batteries. This means that they'll automatically discharge over time, from a full charge to about half. This protects them and extends the battery life, but just remember to charge them up before you go out flying if they've been sat around for a few days. And for those of you that are struggling inserting and removing the batteries, to insert them, put it in straight down and push down with your thumbs on both sides until it clicks in place.
You should feel it clip in the housing.
To remove it, squeeze the grippy bits on the sides quite hard and pull it out.
That's what Wes said.
How to put the battery in and out. Next thing he'll be doing is telling us how to put the gimbal guard on. Anyway, stick around because there is a really good bit coming up. Okay, that was a bit of a weak tip, but people have mentioned it and I like to be able to help out. And if you're one of those people that finds any of these tips useful, then please let me know by hitting the like button and something called the hype button, whatever that is. And if you're not already an awesome subscriber, then please do consider subscribing to the channel for extra awesome points. Right, what's next? Oh yeah. The DJI Neo has a fixed aperture of f2.2. This is great because it means it lets in a lot of light, which helps in low light scenarios. The downside to it is that in full daylight, the Neo 2 really has to ramp up the shutter speed to prevent the image from becoming overexposed. This results in a nice detailed video, but if you're filming movement, it can look sort of unnatural and a bit action camera-y. This shot is taken in spotlight mode with no filter on. Even though it's fairly overcast, you can see it looks like I've got multiple fingers. Well, obviously I have got multiple fingers, but you know what I mean. This shot is taken using an ND16 filter from Freewell, still controller free in spotlight mode. The Neo 2 compensates a bit for this by slowing down the shutter speed, so you get a slightly better effect. To get the best effect using a controller and the ND filter, set your shutter speed to twice that of your frame rate, commonly known as the 180-degree shutter rule. So you can see here I'm shooting at 30 frames per second and I've got my shutter speed set to 1/60. This gives the best, most natural motion blur, as you can see when I freeze this picture. ND filters are great for lower altitude flights, especially FPV. As you can see here, if I freeze the frame of these images, you can see the one on the left has a nice bit of motion blur, whilst the one on the right looks like just a still photo. They attach with this little magnetic ring, which you stick on the front of the drone's camera. Freewell also do a pack with specialist filters in, like a quarter glow mist for more arty shots, polarized light filter to cut down glare, and a UV filter to filter out your UVs. And you can also stack filters on top of each other. In this example, I'm using an ND32 and a glow mist filter on my morning constitution, which ended up with the DJI Neo crashing into a lamppost. There are a couple of things to bear in mind. As with any filters, if you have particularly strong light and are at a slight angle to it, there is a chance that the final image may show a bit of a reflection of the lens internally. This can happen very occasionally with additional filters on any cameras, and most people probably wouldn't notice it, but when you do see it, it's quite hard to unsee. Make sure you get the magnetic ring properly aligned, otherwise it can interfere with the image and you get this sort of vignetting down one side. I do get asked this quite a lot, but no, take the filter off before you put the gimbal guard.
Clumsy fool.
Before you put the gimbal guard on, otherwise it does put a bit of pressure on the gimbal. And also, yes, before you ask, if you crash your drone, the filter will fall off. Believe me, I know. But at the same time, the filter and the magnetic ring will offer a modicum of protection should that happen. That said, the filter sets for the DJI Neo 2 from Freewell are very affordable, and because they supply my filters for all of my drones for free, I'm very happy to tell you to visit their website via the link in the description and use the code Amok special at checkout to get 10% off. If you do purchase from any of the affiliate links in the description, the channel will get a little bit of a kickback from that, but it costs you no more. But it does go towards supporting the channel and helping me to produce more barely acceptable content like this. The DJI manual states that in ideal conditions, the range using the phone should be up to 500 meters. But what is that range in the real world? And does it make a difference if you take the digital transceiver, this part that makes the DJI Neo work with controllers, on or off? I've been asked this several times, so I went out to a field to test it. My son Tarquin came along to assist and get some arty shots with the Air 3S whilst I was doing it. That's not his real name, it's just a funny thing to call him. Let's start with the range test with the digital transmitter on the end of the DJI Neo 2. Set it to record. I'm going to go into landscape mode using these horrible controls. We're going to fly backwards and up slightly just to get away from people. And we'll see how long it takes to lose a signal. So we're at 46 meters, 57 meters, that's 108. I'm going to fly it until I can't see it any longer. And that is as far as it goes with the digital transceiver on. So that's 132 meters. I'm not going to go any further than that. So that was 132 meters when it started warning about the transmission signal. We're going to take off the digital transceiver now and then do the same exercise again and see how far it goes. Unscrew this. That comes out. Put that in there. Oh. Right, let's go backwards. Let's have a look at if we hit 132 meters and get a warning about the range now. We're at 156, 163. I'm struggling to see the drone now. Right, I'm struggling to see the drone. Getting a strong wind warning, I'm coming back, but we're going to get to at least 200 meters. So that proves that point. So there we go. Putting the digital transceiver on does radically change the range of the drone when you're flying it with your phone. It's obviously interfering with the Wi-Fi network that the Neo is producing. So if you want to get that little bit further range when you're flying with your phone, then take the digital transceiver off. The other thing I wanted to show you here is that we've got return to home when we're in this view. So if we click on this icon up here and we do return to home.
Return to home.
And the drone comes back to us. Okay, this is a bit of a niche feature, but it's fun if you own an Apple Watch. Make sure in your watch settings on your phone, you've got DJI Fly installed. Start up the DJI Neo 2 and you should get a prompt on your watch to connect to it. But first, connect DJI Fly on your phone to the drone. Your watch uses the phone as a sort of relay system for the signal. You can put your phone in your pocket once the drone is connected. If it doesn't prompt you to connect, just open the DJI Fly watch app manually and connect to it that way. You can then use your watch in a few different ways to control your drone. You can select a quick shot, change the settings for it, and send it on its way. It even has a preview of the shot as you fly. Just like with the phone, you can use the voice control with the Apple Watch. And there's also a beta feature which allows you to raise your watch and give the command without having to say, "Hey, fly" first. Of course, I always check that there is enough space to do this when I'm demonstrating things, and that I always make sure that my camera is properly in focus.
Take off.
3,
Got it.
2, 1.
Obstacle detected. Quick shot ended.
Is it essential? No. Does it make you feel like James Bond? Most certainly, Miss Funny Fanny. Yes, this one is worse than the one about fitting the batteries, and I had to include it to make this 10 things, and so I could have a bonus tip. So stick with it. The ending is definitely worth it. One or two people have commented that when attaching the gimbal guard, it sounds like it's going to snap. The gimbal guard attachments are quite fragile, and the temptation is to locate the top in first and then clip it in the bottom. This can result in this sort of noise, which doesn't sound particularly healthy. I found that if I squeeze it together and offer it up to the top and bottom at the same time, it goes in a lot easier. Well, I've been wanting to do this one for a few months now, and I needed Tarquin about to help me out and man the phone just in case things went tits up. But I wondered if you could fly the DJI Neo blindfolded. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a pointless exercise, but it does kind of illustrate how easy it is to fly the DJI Neo. So we headed out to the local recreational area near our house and probably annoyed the neighbours a bit to find out. Needs to be tighter. That's fine. Okay. This is just falling off. Or you can tie it right over my eyes. Are you testing whether I can see?
Can you see?
I don't know. What did you do? Right, if you close the DJI Fly app and open it again, it'll say connect to drone. Okay, and you should see a big stop button there. And have I got my... Is that button there, the one with the orange bit on?
No, come the other way.
That one there.
Yeah.
That's good as well because they've made that slightly raised so that blind people can use it. Right, here we go. Let's take off.
Front. Follow. 3, 2, 1.
Right, should fly away from me now. Okay, I'm going to hold my hands up. I'm going to make it go slightly further away. Right. 5 seconds, it should start returning to my hand. One take! That was one take. Pretty good, eh? I did press record on that, didn't I? Yes.
Can't wait till I'm back up on my feet again.